They say no one truly vanishes in the swamps of Kolo, except for the girl with the silver eyes. The one who danced with serpents and vanished into mist, leaving behind only questions and bones. Uju was born under a cursed sky. Her mother died the moment she took her first breath, and her father abandoned her soon after, claiming the baby's eyes glowed like wet moonstones. Left in the care of an old blind herbalist named Nnena, Uju grew up with whispers floating around her like flies. Snake child, they said. Not quite human. But Uju didn't care. She had the swamps, she had silence, and she had her secret. At night, Uju would wander into the marshes barefoot, her feet never sinking, her skin strangely warm despite the cold air. Snakes slithered from the trees and curled around her arms like bracelets. They listened to her voice. They obeyed her commands. She never feared them, they were family. Especially one. A giant albino python with red eyes that stared like it had known her in another life. But not everyone feared her. His name was Jide, son of the village blacksmith. Tall, with laughter in his chest and no belief in the superstitions of old. Where others turned away, he looked deeper. He noticed the sadness behind Uju's steady gaze. He saw the girl, not the gossip. And Uju, who had never known kindness, found herself drawn to him like vines to sunlight. They met in secret. He would bring her roasted yams, and she would whisper stories to him that didn't belong to this world. She showed him how to speak to frogs, how to hear the wind between the trees. Slowly, carefully, love bloomed in the shadows. But love, in places cursed by gods, is never simple. One night, Jide gave Uju a pendant his mother once wore, a carved wooden piece shaped like a heart. "Now you carry a piece of me wherever you go," he said. She held it to her chest and smiled, her eyes shimmering like water before a storm. But happiness makes people careless. That same night, 3 boys from the village followed Uju into the swamps. They'd heard stories, wanted proof, wanted to laugh. When they saw her, barefoot and glowing under the moon, arms raised as snakes slithered toward her, they didn't see a girl. They saw a monster. They screamed. One threw a stone that struck her temple. Blood bloomed down her face. The snakes hissed and recoiled. Juran. The boys returned to the village with their tale. "She's a witch," they cried. "A demon." And the village, long afraid, finally acted. They dragged her from Nnenna's hut at dawn. The old woman screamed until her throat cracked. Jide tried to fight them, but they held him back. "We'll burn her," they declared. "Let fire purify the evil." They tied her to the sacred tree, the one where they used to hang thieves. Uju didn't cry. She only looked for Jide. He was on his knees, his hands bleeding from trying to claw his way free. She mouthed, "It's not your fault." And then the fire came. But flames can't touch what is already claimed. The moment the first spark kissed her skin, the sky darkened. The air turned cold. The earth trembled. And from the deepest part of the swamp she came. Naga, a towering figure cloaked in blackened scales and tattered robes, her face veiled, her voice layered with the whispers of 100 serpents. The villagers fell to their knees in terror, but it was too late. Mama Naga's hand rose, and the fire died like a snuffed candle. "Fools," she hissed. "You dare burn what is mine." Snakes poured from the earth, the trees, the skies, coiling around ankles, silencing mouths. And then she walked to Uju, touched the girl's bloodied face and whispered, "Child of the scale, do you choose vengeance?" Uju looked at the faces of those who had spit on her, beaten her, burned her. She looked at Nnena, who wept. And then she looked at Jide, his eyes begging her not to choose hate. Her heart broke. "I choose freedom," she whispered. But freedom had a price. Mama Naga smiled. "Then rise." Uju's skin peeled away like silk, revealing something ancient beneath. Her eyes turned gold. Her blood ran black. She floated above the village, hair wild, and with one breath, The marsh swallowed the tree, the ropes, and the crowd. Only Jide remained. Uju landed beside him, her new form radiant and terrifying. He reached for her. "Come with me," she begged, "to the realm of scales and mist, where they cannot hurt us." But Jide was human, mortal, bound by time. "I love you," he said, "but I cannot follow." Tears streamed from her glowing eyes. She kissed his forehead, the air around them pulsing with sorrow. "Then I will wait," she said, "until the world is kind enough to hold love like ours." With a gust of wind and the cry of 1,000 serpents, she vanished into the swamps. The village was never the same. Those who survived fled. Trees grew thick over the ruins. And deep in the swamp, if you walk far enough, you'll find a woman with golden eyes, speaking to snakes, watching the world. Waiting. Every year on the same night, a man with graying hair comes to the edge of the water, holding a pendant carved like a heart. He never speaks. He just waits too. Some say she'll return when love is strong enough to defy death. Some say Mama Naga keeps her as a guardian, her most precious child. And some say, if your heart is broken and the world has turned its back on you, walk into the swamp, barefoot and brave. Call her name. And maybe, just maybe, she'll answer.
We'd like to hear from you. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel for more interesting stories. We post once a week. See you next time.